welcome to the Book Nerds podcast, where we have candid conversations about books, leadership, entrepreneurship, eye care industry, what else? Everyday challenges we face personally and professionally. I'm Kyle Clutie, joined by my esteemed co-host, Dr. Brianna Rue. How would we describe you, Brianna? Maybe tech founder, right? Private practice owner, go-getter down in Florida. Is that adequate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then Dr. Aaron Warner, also private practice owner. And, I've never really looked up your official job title with Vision Source, so I did today on LinkedIn, and It's Senior Director of Professional Development. So well done on that.
Yeah. It's a fancy title that says I like my emails.
Title.
So again, we'd love to review books. This time around, we're reviewing the Matheny Manifesto by Mike Matheny.
Yep.
But first, I wanted to just kick us off and I guess start out with how's the last month been? How the last couple weeks been for you guys?
Great. We're coming
Oh
off
my God,
of
we're
Expo
coming
West.
off.
Yeah, there's been a lot of meetings lately.
Yeah, a lot of meetings. I learned that I like my sleep and Brianna doesn't.
Hey, I take naps, Aaron.
I was talking to Aaron on Sunday. We had a phone conversation about a couple things, and he brought up that you may have been up until like 6 a.m. one night. Is that true? Is that correct?
That's not unusual, everyone.
That's intense. Well done on that. I don't think I could.
Hey, man,
I wouldn't
work
even be
hard, play
walking the
harder.
next day.
That's the motto.
That's great. Fantastic. So what else? So we had Vision Expo. What other meetings have you been at?
Well, we had the Vision Source admin meeting. We had I was in South Dakota. I mean, we're kind of coming off summer, right? Going into like conference season. So coming up, we've got a couple other ones. So Academy's around the corner. You have a bunch of other just kind of smaller events, but more impactful events. But really, Aaron, like the energy at Expo was amazing. I don't know if it's because maybe it's going away, maybe it's not. But I love Vegas because everybody's on top of each other. You can't go down to the hallway and like not see somebody and have a candid conversation. And the lecture titles, the lectures were on point, the exhibit hall. We had our Techify dinner with over 90 doctors teaching them how to be the shark. The vibe was just electric.
Cool.
Is all I can say on everything. Like the booth was busy. People were going around, actually walking up. So it's exciting to see. A lot of people came up to me like, oh my God, I heard Aaron and Kyle and you on book club. And like, now I read.
Oh,
like
nice.
That happened like a couple of times. I was like, wow,
Cool.
people do this sometimes.
That's awesome. Yes.
That was cool. So it's fun and I think that's the inspiration that we always wanted to bring here.
Yeah.
I think that's what the industry has been missing for quite some time.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's that personal connection and, the human to human touch. And, just being able to shake hands, give a high five, give a hug, see each other in person, read body language more than just, from the shoulders up. We did have to put pants on, which you don't have to do on Zoom calls, but beyond that, I agree with you. It felt a little bit smaller, but the energy was really high and engaging. And I didn't see a lot of vendors just talking with vendors at the exhibit hall. It seemed like there was lots of good discussions happening. And kudos, Brianna, to your team. They had your stapler on lockdown. I was not able to walk away with the free purple stapler. I was foiled yet again.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
The purple stapler, guys. The trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. So what about you, Kyle?
Let's see. Last month has been obviously been reading this book, and the lecture schedule has been pretty light the last month. You and I have been working on some protocols in the background for Vision Source. Working on myopia management and that, so that's kind of fun. So been diving deeply into that content personally. So That's always helpful for me. We had one of the things that you guys know about. We do is like practice culture
Hmm.
training. We had an awesome event last week with a local ODMD practice. They brought in their kind of 10 to 12 key leaders on the team. So lots of, optometrists and ophthalmologists, and then their leadership team. And we did like a workshop that helped them kind of reestablish better communication. We used the Working Genius as a platform to launch that topic with them. So that was awesome. And you and I have discussed. You had Sophie on a podcast, Sophie Thune on a podcast recently.
Hmm.
So I'm just excited, just as like a fan of that material, as well as just excited to see that opportunity grow for her, and
Yeah,
just to see other practices being helped by that content. So it's pretty fun process to be part of.
that's really fun. And actually, it leads directly into some of the book, not to get ahead of
Yeah,
ourselves. So I've been running a lot more. I posted that a couple weeks ago I finished my first half marathon with my son, which was
yeah,
exciting. I've always wanted a runner, and I finally got one. And kudos to Skylar for the work he's put in. He's now faster than me, and I'm coming to terms with that. But it was really neat finishing it. And so this book I listened to more than I ran, just in my trainings, and I find I get different things out of the book depending on whether I'm reading it or I'm listening to it. But it was a lot about identity, right? Knowing who you are, knowing what your values are, knowing what your morals
yeah.
are, and I had my leadership team at the office do the Working Genius with Sophie. She's fantastic, and we're building on that. But it's a lot of just knowing yourself, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're not good at, and then being able to stand up for that and help other people by being a better you and knowing your values. Knowing what you can be flexible on and what you really can't be flexible on. And I think that the book really does a good job of walking through that from a life and a baseball coach's perspective that translates into to what we do in our own lives.
Yeah, for sure. I
And
mean,
Aaron, I
let's
know
dive right
you
into it.
have a personal, well, also, Aaron, you have a personal relationship with running that's been really high highs, really low lows.
Hmm.
And to see your relationship with running change and be a part of that has been really cool too.
Yeah, it has been, and it's it's kind of weird because it went away for a little bit when so what Brian was referring to, we chat frequently, the three of us, and then a little bit in the WhatsApp group. But I think I've mentioned it before. When I lost my brother, running became just my escape and my way to feel, healthy and not at the same time. And it took me all the way through racing. I completed 3 full Ironmans. I ran a whole bunch of half marathons and marathons and smaller triathlons. Learned in that time frame that my favorite energy drink is room temperature cherry Coke. Also learned that when you stop running and you continue drinking cherry Coke, that it's not good for your waistline. So I had to undo my cherry Coke addiction. But then just life kind of got away from it. I was in a family and happy and was good and didn't need that escape anymore. And it really took Skylar running and getting himself back healthy to challenge me again. And so, now it's fun, and I've gotten the runner's high back. If you have gotten runner's high, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't had it,
Yeah.
you're looking at me going, how the hell is it ever enjoyable running 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 miles? I promise you it is.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And you feel like you float through 5, 6 miles. You don't even know where you
Oh
are.
man,
But,
it's just the best.
Isn't it? So
Yeah.
but it's kind of cool going full circle, and I don't care about times as much as I used to. But certainly my shoes are a lot thicker now. I look like I'm running on like moon boots because I have old man knees. But it's kind of neat just seeing the circle go all the way through. Come back around, and getting to share that with my kid is way better than I ever had it before.
For sure. Speaking of the thick shoes, so, I'm a long time runner as well, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it too. Currently, I'm in a hate relationship with it. because I'm injured and I've had plantar fasciitis in my foot for it's definitely chronic now. Battled it all summer long. I took the last 2 weeks off of running, which for a runner that I've been running 5 to 7 times a week for like 20 years, and so to take 2 weeks off has just been brutal for me recently. But uh, I'm realizing like 10 years ago, I would look at that runner out there that was probably 10 years older than me, and he's wearing like a knee brace, he's wearing like big, thick shoes, and I'm kind of poking fun at him in my mind. But now, like yesterday morning, I went for a quick little jog to try to because I'm trying to work myself back up, and here I'm wearing like compression socks that are up to my calf, and I've got like the max version of every Brooks shoe that I wear because I need like the max cushion. So it just it's humbling, but you got to do what you got to do. So
That's cool.
Well, I have a question for you. I was asking for both of you. I was asking in a bunch of my talks at Expo, and we've done some coaching together, right? We went through the positive intelligence course together, which had a coach.
yeah.
Do you guys have a coach? Have you ever had a coach? Not a consultant. A consultant is different. A practice consultant is different. But a real coach. Like it could be when you were younger, like at some form in your life.
Yeah.
Sports. I've had coaches in sports.
Yep.
I've had mentors everywhere else. I would say the closest I have now for running is my Garmin that tells me when you're running, hey, you're going too fast, you're going too slow. Like this is the workout you're going to do today. But that's probably a stretch calling it a coach.
So in the talks, I would ask people. Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
No, go ahead. No.
Yeah, in the talks, I would ask, the audience who has a coach, like a real coach, business coach or whatever.
Great question.
And very, very few hands went up. And the hands that went up, I did know, and I could tell that they had a coach. And I think that it's an underestimate of, yes, we have them growing up like cheerleading, dancing, right through college. If you're lucky, if you're fortunate to go into, professional sports like the book. Why? Why do we think we can do this all by yourself? Mentally, emotionally, physically. This is like the life is a marathon now more than ever.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Well, I mean, look back to our book we read last time. I mean, that explains it. I think we're all probably trying to still believe that we can produce and do it largely on our own. We're still addicted to that production high, I would say. And what we probably lack, and a lot of other people lack, is just that mindset of change and jumping from that one strength of, massive productivity to the next strength of essentially that next strength was coaching and mentoring. So I think very few people make that leap in a really successful way. And I think that's probably why. And part of it, again, is like, I think we just, I would just name myself as I probably have too much pride to actually ask somebody to hey, could you let's meet, I do have somebody in mind that I try to meet with periodically, who I worked with in the past. He's a mentor of mine. And, but I don't know if I'd see him as a coach, but I think, asking him to be that and then setting up a better routine of meeting, I think would be something that'd be really wise.
Yeah. The closest I can think of is what we've done with Chris in the office, and have him, looking at our charts, actually coming in and watching, paying for him. And I'll tell you, we've talked about it. I've done episodes with Chris. It's scary. So I think part of it is I don't want to have the whole emperor's new robe, mentality. I've built this kind of shield around me, and I'm afraid what it might look like. If I get the real answer, which it's much less scary than it is, even with Chris. I think the other part of it is just like, the idea of when am I going to fit this into my life? I don't have enough time now, it feels like, to get everything done that I need to, let alone I've got to set up time to meet for an hour with somebody once a week or however often it's going to be. I think the outward excuse is I don't need it, it's going to cost a lot of money and I can spend that money elsewhere. But I think that's just a BS excuse. I don't think it's really that keeps me back.
Yeah, so I look back on my adventure from private practice owner to, or student athlete into private practice owner. I really believe in consultants, and then also this coaching piece in Dr. Contact Lens. Like, what's really growing Dr. Contact Lens is me getting coached as the CEO. So yeah, it is an investment, but it's been one of the biggest investments. Even I had a coaching session right before I left for Expo. I was like, we have got to get me ready for what this is going to be. Questions I'm going to get asked. How do I answer these questions? And coaching's different than a consultant, because consultant, you're paying them to say yes to you. I think Chris in our industry is really close to, he's not a yes person, not a yes man.
Yeah.
Your coaches aren't yes men. They're there to beat you up, but also for you to, the idea is inside of you, for you to get it out. Because I even asked him, like, how would I respond to that? He goes, no, Brianna, no. How do you respond to that? Right? So when you put that money on the line, so one of the things Dan Martelli is like, the transformation can't happen. The transformation happens at the transaction. So when you invest in something to bring into your practice, there's an investment in there. You're not going to go through the change and the hurdles and the uproar with your staff to make a change if you didn't put money on the line. And I see that a lot of just bad habits, and this all really started post-COVID, during COVID, really, really bad habits in offices. And I think this is the first time even at Expo that we had that kind of behind us. I think the energy was so different. Like, the COVID hangover is finally over.
Thank goodness.
And yes, there's something different. Like at Techify, we randomly played a little drinking game, and I was like, all right, guys, just, when everybody says, says AI, drink. And like my Canadian buddies like took that for real. Like, we were hammered in like 9.7 seconds. Like, the word AI is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see the inspiration that this has brought. I had a couple of doctors come up to me crying afterwards. They were like, I've never felt so empowered. No one ever taught us that we were sharks. No one. Because that's how the format of the dinner was.
Awesome.
But it was really cool to see when you actually invest the time.
So, Brianna, unpack that for us in terms of your coaching, though. So what does that look like? Like, how did you find that? Who did you seek out? And what does it look like for you, for people that are interested in something like that or looking at it for themselves?
Yeah, so, one is Dan Martell. He's obviously an author. He's sold several companies. He's on path. Like, you even just go to his YouTube channel. But he also has a coaching program. And so it's 400 CEOs, whatever you want to be. There's actually 2 or 3 other optometrists in the group now that I've seen join it since they're in there.
Awesome.
And he gets on. It's massive. But then I have another one that's just one-on-one, right? Because there you're getting coaching just for your own business. But the personal one, I have another coach. His name is Taylor Johnson. I just met him at a conference, and we hit it off kind of with how he coaches. So he was an NFL guy, and I love that athlete, because I am an athlete, right? I love that same, it's the same thing in business. You have your recovery days, you have your on days, your off days, everything in between. So, and he does a really nice job.
That's cool. Yeah. And I like what you said you talked about the putting the money in and the investment. Because sometimes I think it's money, sometimes I think it's time. Sometimes I think it's committing to a style, something that's hard for you to do. I imagine if money wasn't an issue, paying for something wouldn't make it any more valuable to me, because money's not an issue, right? If time's an issue, whatever your value is that you're trading for something, like in the book, I can imagine that a lot of those parents, it had nothing to do with the money. It had to do with the fact that they weren't allowed to say anything during the kids' games. I know a lot of parents that would be, they'd rather pay $1,000 a game and be able to yell than to have to just sit there and be quiet.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes in the book, and I think we talk a lot about this, he said, good things can become bad things when they keep you from the best thing. And in our industry right now, what was good at that time. And now, in order to be great, it really is owning your team, owning your own leadership. Like we've talked about it too, is we have positional leadership. As optometrists, you come out, you paid for that, you invested in that title. Mm-hmm. But that title is a positional title. It's actually not a transformational title. And so that's the value of what book club has really brought to me in reading what we're reading, these discussions, the group that we formed, to do that. Because you can't take this to your husband or wife. You can't take this to your office manager. You can't take this to your team or to your family. So knowing that you're not alone is, I think, a really critical piece to all of this.
And I like that difference between the transactional and transformational.
Mm-hmm.
While I was running, I try to listen, and I go back and I find that spot in the book, which is a whole different fun challenge of its own. But I did find that and underlined it and circled it. I don't have stars next to it yet, Kyle, but I probably will.
There
but
you go.
I like how he described it. He said transactional coaches are ones who will say and do anything for his team to win, where a transformational coach is one more interested in growing his players beyond their performance. And I think we, at least as a practice owner, I struggle with that because when payroll's coming up or cash flow, it's one of those months it's not as great. And Q2 this year was tough for us. Our capture rate dropped significantly. So it became, how can we do better to how can we make sales today, right? How do we win just that day to day, right? So it became a lot more transactional coaching, and which I think sometimes there's a place for it. If you're in the World Series, you figure out how to play to win. But I think that the transformational coach really needs to be the foundation that we all build off of and strive to build off of.
I also think, Aaron, though, you probably wouldn't have had the leverage. You don't have the leverage in those moments when you really need people to achieve at a high level if you've been transactional the whole time. If you've focused on transformational leadership and working towards the betterment of the person, which is way more relational than anything, right? I think those moments when we have to kind of hey, we all need to step up and produce a little bit more. I think it actually happens. People actually respond to that, and they're actually going to do that. Versus if you've never really built that relationship, you've never really proven to them that you're not about the money, then I think their response is it's going to be different. It's going to be more responsive if you have proven to them that, hey, yeah, we do need to do this, but this isn't what we're really focused on. But we do need to do this right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's the impact of that type of leadership.
And to set up the book for you guys really quick. So Mike was a big league pitcher or a big league catcher for many, many years. Mm-hmm. Got called up to AAA ball. If you don't know the baseball, I actually dated a baseball player, so I know a lot about baseball. Really? Rihanna dated a baseball player. So single A, double A, triple A, you get called up, you go back down, you get called up, you're out in the sun, in these weird, you're sharing, a room with 5 guys to make ends meet when you're in double A, triple A. It's a big deal to get called up. And the part of it, so he gets asked to coach a little league team, and he's back and forth, do I do it, do I not? I want to do it the right way, but I'm going to do it my way. And he writes this letter, it's 5 pages, single spaced, before he says that he's going to coach the team. So he goes into his coaching style. I'm going to have my beliefs. You're going to be parents. We're going to be ethical. We're going to be respectful, right? Even shaking the umpire's hands is what it comes down to. In playing the game like it should be. We're not going to cheat. We're not going to steal. We're going to do it the right way. So in the rest of it, he goes through what he learned being, going from, Sandlot, which we all know, that get outside and play mentality, feeling love for the game, to then what he learned to then having to be retired from too many concussions and why. So, and his family has 5 kids. The travel schedule on an athlete is insane. We think that it's glamorous and whatnot. Guys, it's not that glamorous. So, and being at Arizona, as a cheerleader, Richard Jefferson, Luke Walton, Brian Anderson, like these are all my buddies. Like I tagged them in the post, and I was like Ricky Barnes, like all these guys went on. Some of them would call me and stay on my couch, right, when they're in town and didn't want to go to a hotel room. So it's what you do along the way to get there. You see the grind, but it comes with that love. And I don't think we've got that love for optometry. A lot of us have it.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the way, it gets really lost. And I think that's what we're all fighting so hard to get back in this industry.
That's that identity, right? It's not losing your identity in the grind. It's not losing your focus in the grind. And some of the decisions are tough. It didn't come up in the WhatsApp group chat, and hopefully we get to a couple of the comments because I think they were fantastic. But I was picturing that 18-year-old kid when, he got drafted, and he's trying to decide, do I go play pro and here's all this money, or do I go to Michigan? And you look at your parents for support, and they just kind of shrug, and I'm picturing this in my head. They just kind of shrug and be like, it's up to you. We'll support you whatever you want. I'm like, that's not helpful at all in the slightest, And as a kid who grew up, sounded like lower middle class, working parents and whatnot. So some of those decisions are tough and some of the life lessons, but as long as you've got your eye on the prize, and he didn't call it out really big, but Michigan was about getting his education and getting to play baseball. It was always about the experience and what he could pull out of it and get to play baseball, which I think is big, because a lot of the kids that I see now that struggle with sports at the collegiate level, and even a couple of the pros that I have as patients, if it's about the sport and it's about their name in lights and their success, just from a success standpoint, they struggle. If it's about the love of the game or what they're getting out of it, it's the struggle has a purpose and has a reason for it, and I don't see them burnt out as much. It doesn't mean it's not going to be tough. Doesn't mean it's not going to suck sometimes. And I think the same thing in optometry. And for the ones who have a passion, for the ones who see their purpose, feel their purpose, know their identity, and are okay with the ups and the downs, I don't see the burnout there. It's the instant gratification. I bought this new equipment and it's not making me $1 million right now. Staff is a challenge. Well, staff's always going to be a challenge, right? And you're always going to be a challenge to them as the owner, right? It goes both ways. Patients are always going to be a challenge. You're going to love them some days, you're going to hate them the next. And but as long as you keep your purpose and your identity in check, I think, and in mind, it's harder to get burnt out, and it's more easy to enjoy the ride. It's when you're chasing a satisfaction that's either fleeting or transactional. I don't just recommend Peak Pro to my patients. I use it daily, and so does my whole family. Honestly, it's one of those rare products my wife and daughters all love. So much so they actually fight over who stole the tea tree cleanser, the peptide cream, or even the hyaluronic acid. I had no idea this would be the case when I introduced them to the Peak Pro products. But I've learned they're a great company to work with, and their lineup covers everything from daily eyelid hygiene to deep hydration. I highly recommend checking them out. We've got a special affiliate link in the show notes, and use code Warner for 25% off. The way optometrists in the U.S. treat children with myopia. The purpose of the Myopia Collective is to rally the profession of optometry and its allies to interrupt the status quo and elevate the new standard of care for children with myopia. Every individual is encouraged to become a member of the collective. By joining, you commit to taking action to help slow the progression of myopia in children. You'll receive updates and information about the collective and its work in the fight against myopia, gain access to educational opportunities and resources offered by the collective, and hear from change agents, the ambassador optometrists selected to serve as advocates for community and policy change that facilitates the mission of the collective. Scan the QR code or click on the link in the show notes to join the collective today. In the past, our focus revolved around prescribing MacuHealth or MacuHealth Plus to patients at risk of macular degeneration, while also recommending it to collegiate and professional athletes for enhanced contrast sensitivity in sports performance. However, this year's introduction of the Life Meter has been a game changer. The Life Meter revealed a concerning truth. Many of my patients have alarmingly low skin carotenoid levels, indicating potential deficiencies in essential body tissues like the retina and brain. Supported by over 30 peer-reviewed publications, LifeMeter's accuracy, consistency, and effectiveness has been demonstrated across 2,000 subjects with diverse backgrounds. With this newfound insight, I can now have meaningful conversations about carotenoid levels with all of my patients, even those who may seem outwardly healthy. To learn more about this empowering technology, feel free to contact your MacuHealth representative or click on the link in the show notes. Together, let's optimize patient care and elevate their well-being.
Kyle, you had a post on LinkedIn about a good quote in the book that really hit.
You put me on the spot. Which
Sorry,
one was it?
I
Let me
just saw it this morning.
see. Let me see which one it is. We can fill the airspace with talking here. I'm going to go to it and grab it.
Well, you're looking at that one. I'll pull up the LinkedIn chat because I thought that.
Yes, do.
So I'll just kind of, while you're pulling that up, some of the other hard-hitting quotes here was keep score but never remember.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Awesome.
that one. You always have a cause worth fighting for. To also be clear, at the end of it, he does go on to get picked as the manager of the Cardinals and had almost no experience, but he did get picked. And a lot of it, he went through this kind of woes afterwards, and he put together his personal board of directors around him that kept him accountable. I think that's also what's been really cool about this group, is that like we can really get on a really deeper level that, again, you can't tell your buddies about, or you don't want to tell your buddies about, or your significant other, whatever it may be. You need that surrounding, and that's what I saw at Expo. It's cool that these groups have been formed, and they keep getting bigger and bigger, because we're talking about the shit.
Sure. That's tough. And you need to have that group when some days are just going to stink. That was one of my, right? It's just, when you know what's going to happen, you know what's going to happen.
Oh, it was about the coach. So, like, just because you should call the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because you can call the game.
Yes. So that was my favorite, definitely my favorite quote. And it goes back to what I talked about originally with the Working Genius and seeing Sophie take off with that. Basically, he says, the quote there is, if you know how to call a great game from the bench, don't do it. Teach it. And the whole story there was basically he had a pitching coach or a manager, I think when he was at Michigan, that was like an elite play caller, pitch caller, and everybody kept asking him in pregame and postgame, "Hey, did you call the game, or did what's his name? I forget what the coach's his name was," because they all assumed that it was such a well called game that the coach actually was the one that was calling the shots. I think that's correct, right?
Correct.
Am I explaining that correctly?
Yep.
And he was like, every time he's like, "No, I did it," and the coach, basically that was his mindset of, if you know how to call a great game from the bench, then don't do it. You need to teach it. And so I just think about that in terms of our practices. I mean, I've been stewing on that quote for days, just thinking about, like, if I know how to lead a good practice, like, stop doing it, teach it, stop trying to make, we'll go back to delegation, all those topics, but really the essence of it is, like, stop doing it and just, empower and enable other people to use their gifts and capabilities in such a way that they can do it as well or as better as you can. And really, and find the joy in doing that, and seeing other people grow and flourish. So that's why I love that quote. It was super impactful to me personally, because that's currently what I'm trying to do right now in my practices, is as we scale and grow.
Well, and then that goes back to entrepreneurship 2.0, right? Where you have that vision, mission, core values thing, where even in a bunch of our lectures, if you just take a second to ask somebody what their vision is, a lot of times they can't even tell you what it is.
Right.
Right? So if you don't even know where you're going to go, how are you going to surround yourself with great people? And that one kind of hits hard. I don't know if I've told this story. Maybe I've told this story before, but, Dr. Garmiza, who I bought the practice from, his vision outlived him, right? It's in its second generation. How cool is that? Rewind to my dad and my parents with the furniture business. He walked into his accountant's office and said, the accountant was like, "Bill, you want the truth? Like, you can keep going at this, but You shut down, you're going to make more money off the real estate, right? And so I saw this furniture business be sold off piece by piece by piece. And then him have all this knowledge for incredible furniture building just go away, right? And so you have two options here. You can, and Garmizo did that for me. Mentors do that for you. That's the power of it. We're missing a lot of that. If you're younger, reach out to us, because we reached out to those people. Like Scott Morris was my reach out. Came and talked to our first year class, and here I am at Expo talking with Scott Morris. Like, such a cool moment in my life. So if you see someone, like, get in these groups. You're allowed there.
Yeah.
That's how Kyle and Aaron and I got in there.
We've all got the same title. We've all got the same degrees, and we all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time.
Yeah.
So, what I really liked in Kyle, on the how to get to that point, how do you teach, is he spent a lot of time just talking to his players, and then he shared his experience of, why did you throw that pitch? Why did you call that pitch? What were you thinking in this situation? And it wasn't to have a got you moment. At least I didn't get the sense that it was trying to catch somebody in a trap. It was, I want you to think. And if there wasn't a thought process behind it, well, then let's go back and fix that thought process behind it. In my office with my staff, frequently when they'll come back and have a question, I'll look back at them and say, I don't know, what will you do? Right. And then after reading the Buy Back Your Time, we've stolen Dan's 131. Right. So if you've got a problem, come back and tell me the problem. Give me 3 well thought through potential solutions, then tell me the solution that you're thinking. Right. I want to teach you how to think. And I don't want to just give you the answer, because that's easy and it gets us past, but it doesn't develop you. It doesn't help us move along. And quite frankly, you may come up with a better answer than I have too. So there's a little bit of selfishness in there as well, even though it takes some time. And I've found that in my work with Chris and consulting practices, especially and Kyle, you've been involved with this too on the COS stuff, asking practices why they do what they do. When you bring somebody back for a dry workup, why do you do every test that you do? Why do you ask every question that you're asking? And in our office, I started looking at our intake form. There's a lot of questions in there that I don't have a good reason why I ask. I just felt like they should be on the piece of paper. And, or, it's the one I stole from somewhere. I got it from school, and I thought it just had to be this way. Right. And I think Kyle, you and I were joking, and I said, what visits actually require us to take a visual acuity? If somebody comes in with an internal hordeolum, do I need to take a visual acuity on that person? Right. It's not listed in the 9.9s. It's, do I need to look at their funded? Like, what do I need to do? And then what do I do just because I feel like there's this sense that I have to? But it's almost it's about me and not about them at that point. And I don't have all the answers to all of them, but it's a fun exercise to just challenge everything that I'm doing and making sure there's a reason for it.
He also talks, think about it this way. So if your printer goes down at home, you're going to probably have a protocol to fix your printer. If the printer goes down at the office, all of a sudden it's Dr. Werner, Dr. Clooney's problem. Yeah. Dr. Werner, the printer's not working. Have paper?
By the way, I hate that question. Go buy a damn printer. I don't 1-3-1 that one. I solved that one. Go buy a damn printer.
Yeah, Ben Taylor, he's a big advocate in our group. He's like, Brianna, the printer didn't have paper. So this also is a wants versus needs thing, right? We spend money on what we want. We don't spend money on our needs. But in our practices, a lot of the times, it's a living, breathing organism just like us. It's got an energy. Yeah. It's got problems. It's, suffers from indigestion, overdigestion, whatever you want to call it. But I was at Expo, and there was like this bracelet, like Chopsky thing, and they were swarmed because it was like this beautiful piece of jewelry. I may have bought one. Shut up. And then next to it was like this piece of tech that would really help, and it was actually cheaper than like the bracelet would be. Crickets. So are you looking at your practice that it also has wants and needs? So he talks about it in the book where just because a practice should take 6 hours, guys, we're not going to take a 6-hour practice. We're going to get it done in 2. And if you don't do it right the first time, when are you going to have time to do it again? So I love that philosophy When it comes to practice, what you're hearing Kyle and Aaron and me speak on here, because we do read a lot, we do talk to each other a lot, we get the reps in. We get the practice in. I can pitch myopia management because I've pitched it now a lot of times.
Yep.
Dry eye, Kyle and his protocols, Aaron and all his cool dad jokes. He's practiced stuff. Right? So I don't think we practice this enough. Practice the handoff enough. When a patient, when you say, oh, your prescription hasn't changed, there's still a handoff in the optical. We still want them to get a new pair of glasses. Yep. Do we actually practice that? Do we practice selling annual supplies? Do we practice when a patient asks for a copy of their prescription? Do we practice answering the phone? Do we practice asking, thank you for choosing West Broward Eye Care. This is Brianna. Whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Do you have anybody else in your household that would like to make an appointment?
Yep.
I don't think we practice enough. I really don't.
No, I don't think so. And I think it ties closely back to his kind of main theme of the book is, in his manifesto that he wrote, his 5-page document that this book is based upon. By the way, you can just Google search Matheny Manifesto and you can find the PDF for free and read it. It's definitely worth finding and downloading and reading it. It's really good.
We can put it in the show notes, Mariana.
There you go. Even better. We're having it in the show notes. But the connection there in my mind is like those that want to take that next step in practice, they're the ones that have a love for the game, right? Mm-hmm. It's not something that feels offensive to them or too tedious or not worth it. Because when you really do enjoy the game of eye care, enjoy the game of business, you're willing to
people, of team members.
Yeah, enjoy the game of people, exactly. And so I think that's why, in my mind, it ties back to what he was after there. Of like, I just want people. I want a team of kids that just love baseball. And when you love the sport, you're willing to go through these things of learning how to tie your shoes like John Wooden would coach his players. The very basics of realizing like all these little details matter a ton. Even if it's minutia, it feels like, hey, this isn't like they do matter. And it just ties back to like, do you love this game or not? Do you enjoy this game? Do you find fulfillment from it?
What do you think so his kids were obviously baseball family, they're going to baseball. I think they got to high school and said, hey Dad, I got to take some time off. I'm not loving this. And he could have pushed, and he didn't. He let them actually take some time off and they both went on to do great things. Mm-hmm. I think that's also something to see in your team members, see in yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That you're allowed to have these really high highs and lows. And we've talked a lot about, stoicism with another book that we read, obstacle is the way. He says, be grateful for your obstacles because that is what shapes you and makes you your character. Your character is forged not on the top of the mountains, but in the valleys. I don't know if I could have done that, like now reading the book, like done that with my own kid, like push through it. Like,
that's tough.
We've invested all this time. I don't know. I mean, now I'm looking at it differently. Like, my 9-year-old not wanting to go to Taekwondo. I'm like, dude, you got to go like 2 or 3 times a week. I'm paying for this. But like, is there a different way to, I think too, like we're too soon to give up on kids. I think, okay, fine, you're not feeling it today. No, like that's not the time. Like this is character building. You got to go when it's hard. But I think he recognized something different in that moment.
He probably recognized like true capabilities too. I'm looking right now. The reason I say that is I'm looking at just a list of quotes that I wrote out, and a lot of these come from John Wooden within the book, from the legendary coach John Wooden. But I think he said something like, "True achievement comes from fulfilling your capabilities." And I'm kind of going through that right now with my oldest son. He'll be 13. He's 12 and a half. He'll be 13 soon, but he I played all the sports growing up. Love all sports, and I didn't play, collegiate or anything like that. I was at a super small school, and my oldest is he plays a couple sports here and there. Like I played basketball last year. He's doing flag football right now, and I'm coaching that team. But like there's just a line of like, do I push him to do more, to try more, and not give up on this, or like you said, Brianna, do you like how do you decide when is it when are you just giving up versus when are you just pivoting, I guess is probably the way to describe it. But for me, like he is unbelievably talented. Like he's an engineer and he will be an engineer. He is like loves Legos. He loves building. Like since he was like 6 years old, if I were to say, "Hey, Jonathan, are you playing Legos?" or use the word "playing" with Legos, he would correct me and say, "Dad, I'm building. I'm not playing." And like so, that's like it's his MO. And now we started the school that we go to in Omaha did not have a gosh, I'm blanking.
An engineering track,
Like an engineering track, robotics team. They didn't have a robotics team. And so we started that. My wife and I started that recently. And like he is just like that's like him. I mean, he's all in. Like we have to like set boundaries and pull him out of that now. But that's where I feel like that's really true success, like true achievement as a leader, is to find those things, not just for our kids, but like how do I steer them towards their capabilities? Because that's true success in my realm as a leader, as a dad. And I think that's the same for us as leaders in our practice. It's figuring out like, hey, how are our team members wired, and what are they capable of, and then just like pushing them in to that direction. I think that's really like when you think about all the lessons in this book, that's really kind of the heart of it. That's why I personally enjoyed it a lot.
That note too, like I'll share something with my chief soul officer, who's my executive assistant. We call her my chief soul officer because she protects my soul from all my emails. Well, she was like saving to get a car, and she had that wonderful Honda Civic. You've all had that car, right? Where it's just like, oh God, like please turn on. We've all had it. And she was in that car.
I may or may have that right now.
And I go, Sade, like, oh my God, what do you need, my dear? Like, you gotta go get a new car. Because I could see it just on her face and the shoulders down. Like, cars do some weird stuff to you mentally. So she got a new car, and I knew that was part of her vision. And I was the first one she called. She's like, I did it. I did it. Right? And so if you don't know what their real vision is, again, your vision has to be so big that not only your vision can fit into it, but everybody else's around you. And this is stuff we don't learn in school, but it doesn't mean you can't learn it.
No. What do you guys think about? Sorry, what do you guys think about? Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
No. Well, along the same lines of knowing your vision, what was really impactful too is when he had to have parents leave and kick them out because they weren't along the same lines, right? But the way he did it, and look, I don't have a problem terminating somebody from the office, terminating employment. It doesn't hit me emotionally because I feel like I'm supporting the rest of the team who is there. If I'm removing the person the puzzle piece that doesn't fit. And it just sometimes it doesn't fit. But the way he let that mom go, and he just said, hey, look, you've now cost yourself a son on the team. You committed to not doing what you're doing right now, and you won't stop, so you have to go. There's a lot of power in knowing who you are, knowing your vision, but being so true to that you're not going to allow anybody else to derail you and everybody you're taking away from it. Because it could be easy to say, hey, look, I'll give you another chance. She admitted, hey, my husband's going to be so mad. He loves this. My kid's going to be upset. And he didn't say, okay, I'll give you one more chance. Like, no, you committed. Like, it wasn't anger. It wasn't upset. He even said, I'll help you find another team. We'll find a better place for you that fits for you. But I think that just highlights how clear he had his vision in his head and how clear his coaching staff and all the other parents that he really wasn't, it wasn't about him at that point. It was about the entire program. And by having that one family leave because they weren't playing ball, it sustained what they were doing and maintained the integrity of the program.
And that's like to that core, like giving yourself time to develop that and put it to words. So my son's fourth grade teacher, she had a great, like on their opening night or whatever you call it, she said reading is breathing in and writing is like breathing out. I was like, oh, that's good.
I like that.
Can I come to your class?
Yeah.
What is reading for fourth grade?
Does speech to text count as writing? Because I'm really good at that.
An amazing teacher, and you can tell her love for it. And I'm so excited that he's in her class. And my sister is a first grade teacher, and she has that passion. And you see that, like, through so many of us. But then you just get slapped in the face with all of the other stuff. And it is about your support team around you. Mm-hmm. I don't think we talk enough about that.
I want to bring up, there is this, I recently read Mike McCallowick's new book called All In. So not to drop another book here, but it was really good. There's bits and pieces that I'm going to take and apply. One of them that I was reminded of here in terms of like trying to find our capabilities and helping with our team members achieve what we want them to, and also not just professionally but also personally. He recommends, or he does this at his business. He actually creates like a one-page document of each employee that essentially like describes them in terms of their, he didn't say working genius, but he uses another personality profile. But part of that really was intriguing to me was he has, and I was just trying to like chat GPT exactly what these 7 F's are, but he calls it the 7 F's, and it's 7 F words, not the F word, but 7 F words.
Although we want to use it daily.
He does. Mike does for sure. If you listen to his books, any of his books, he likes to, but they're basically different categories of goals that he sets for his team members. So like he sits down with them and they have finance goals, family goals, friends goals, fitness goals, and those are the only 4 out of the 7 I can think of right now.
You're doing good. Where's the rest of them?
But those 4 to start with. But I've been kind of working in my mind of like, okay, how could I implement that as part of like our quarterly or biannual reviews on our team of, I don't want to get overly personal, but honestly, like I do want to help my team members achieve, just like you're talking about, Brianna, of like maybe their dream is to buy a car, and I don't know that, but I want to like team up with them and help them do that because we've read a lot and we know we've accomplished a lot, and it's time to like teach other people how to do the same thing. So that was the part that was really intriguing to me that I think would be kind of cool to see it played out.
We went and saw Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, which was super cool. Like they showed the movie and they had everything there, but at the end of it, they had a guy that was pretending to be the wizard, and then they were asking people in the audience to come up and like grant their wish.
That's
what
cool.
would, like, if someone called you on stage and you had one wish, what would it be? I mean, a lot of people, I even sat back and I was like, what would I say? Like, if I raised my hand right now and went up on that stage, like, what is my wildest dream come true? Like, put to words.
I don't know. Great question.
Yeah.
I mean, I
like
would probably
even word
answer
stuff.
it.
And like we do a lot of work on this, so it gave me time to kind of think about it. Obviously, it's for me. I want to see Dr. Contact Lens flourish to the next level, and I want it to be in so many practices and take online retailers down. But on the other side of that is being an author and like getting that out there for all the stepping stones, right? And I think one thing we don't talk enough about is like, I think we're getting deeper on here where it's the decades of your life, right? Like your early childhood, your middle childhood, your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I just had a 105-year-old patient this morning, right? She's a hoot, like Oh, she's like, you must be 22, my darling. That's my 105th birthday next week. And I was like, where is it at? I'm coming, right? So there's parts of this, and we just don't look through that lens, I think, enough.
Well, I did buy a lottery ticket for the 1.7 billion-dollar lottery a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if that shares my wish, but I didn't win clearly. So I did get the Powerball correct. So I did win $4 there.
Close,
So
close.
I'm gonna turn the $4 into a couple more numbers. So, but that's not ultimately my wish. I'm similar to you. Like, it sounds to me like your wish is just to continue to uh, work and achieve more on what you're working on, and that's kind of how I feel too. It's like I just want to continue to. I mean, I think we all love what we do. I love what I do, but it's just the more of like leaning into the parts that are most fulfilling. For me, it's teaching, it's contributing with insights that I've learned through studying, reading, and conversations and those things. So anytime I can do that to the max, I'm happy and successful.
Aaron?
Oh, I'm still wrapping my head around what would I ask for on the wish thing. You froze my hard drive.
We did, I can tell.
Yeah,
Your Zoom is frozen, Aaron, and you're
I'm
on
usually
mute.
pretty good. I'm usually pretty good on my feet, and that one shut me down. I think it would be just to make sure that like I'm having the impact I hope I have. You know, I want that impact on how I teach my kids, on my patients, on my team, right, on the others around me, and I think I do a good job. Everything that first came to mind was, world hunger and world peace and all that kind of stuff, or, I want my kids to do well, but I think really it's just to be able to achieve what I'm hoping to achieve in kind of my personal identity, right? And that's just to help others. And I think that if I can help others well enough, and hopefully I do successfully enough, then,
You do it with your face in lectures. Like if you're ever watching Aaron in a lecture, you know exactly what he's thinking. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't
freaking
know.
love it.
I need to work on that.
I think we all do that.
For sure.
I've also been told when I'm really concentrating, my tongue starts doing like little weird things. My kids are like, Dad, your tongue thing again. So.
Yeah.
Oh God, when your kids start calling you out on stuff.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awkward. Or you like really see yourself and they're like, oh no, I do say that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then they give you a hug at the end of the night and you're like, it was
They don't
all
care.
worth it.
All
The
worth
older they
it.
get, the rarer those are. So I take them as much as I can.
I think in the end of it, he goes, all I can do is be myself, not to pretend to be something I am not, and don't apologize for the lack of experience when he got the job as being the manager of the Cardinals. And then there's an afterword here at the back by Bob Costas that really summarizes kind of the whole book, but really that level of respect that he had for himself to stay true to it, and then that allowed him to respect everybody else around him. So the childhood that he had with his father, growing up and then being, on his feet for 13, 14, 15 hours a day, and then coming home, dropping it, and going and playing with them, his boys, it's getting back to the play, right?
Yeah.
It's become so, especially in healthcare, it's become so sterile, all of it, right? When I graduated optometry school in 2009, we were taught to be scared of a freaking pen, right? I think what we're craving is experiences, and not many of us now, post 2009, have really gotten that. We're now curating it with great meetings, like Techify and what Vision Source does, and what all the other things do. I think that's a really critical piece to this, is the play.
We've been afraid to fail. Right? We've been set up to where you can't not be perfect in everything that you do. And which is, we're not killing people, right? We can have a optical promo and it didn't work well. I can try to do a whole bunch of tests in my pre-testing and realize that I ran somebody through 45 minutes of testing that I really didn't need to. Right? Just change it for next time. it's not the end
Have
of
you
the
got
world.
your time down, Aaron? Average 3 hours? What are we down to?
Well, 2 hours and 49 minutes. We're working on it.
We're
But
getting there. This is good.
yeah, but no, I think that it's, that play is an experimenting too, because we don't know what works different until you try. And part of healthcare is science and the art. And the art is that trying. We don't know what's going to work well until you try something. And somebody's got to come up with the idea before it ever becomes a clinical study to see if it really works. Like they worked kind of here, so let's see if we expand it out. And so I think that there's some fun to play with. If you went and spent the money and bought an IPL, awesome. Play with it. See how it works best in your office. You're not going to hit a home run out of the gate. And if you do, the next time up, you're probably going to strike out. But that's okay. Just keep trying and keep adjusting and changing and having fun with the whole process.
So right up time here. Kyle, what was your biggest takeaway?
You just said it, Brianna. Play. I think I just wrote it down. I quoted you. You said getting back to the play. I think that is that's the essence of the book, and that's my big takeaway too. Of just seeing what we're doing as a game in a good sense of the word, and enjoying the process and seeing it as a playground to work and improve on and enlist other people to play with.
Aaron?
I like that. I liked how the theme through the whole book is he knew who he was, but he was willing to learn and adapt as he went through. He started with one team and they grew it, and he brought on coaches, and they had a sponsorship, and he changed the name of the team. So it's just, even though he knew who he wasn't committed to being very rigid. He was open to learning and growth throughout the whole process with his core values in mind. So I liked that theme throughout the whole book.
Quotes here that I wrote down is, nothing worth doing right is easy.
I love that.
Yeah. So our next book is called The Stress Paradox. The new book that, guess what, guys? Kyle has not read.
None of us have read it. None of us have read it, so that's great.
And we agreed on a book before the month started.
Yeah, first time ever.
Yeah. And I think what this one is going to show is just kind of coming up on the holiday season, coming up September's always that lull a little bit for all of us. October kind of gears up. November, December, whoa, January, here we are. I think it's, we're taught stress is bad and have been taught that for quite some time. She flips it on its head. So it's written by a doctor, and yeah, I'm excited to dive into that one, into the season.
The season of stress.
Right.
You make it sound like in-laws are coming over, Brianna.
Maybe.
No, it's fun. I'm looking forward to it, and so that book will be up on the link to buy it off the BookNerds page in the next day or two. So look for that. Appreciate everybody joining. Appreciate the comments in the WhatsApp group. It's fun
Enjoying
as
the
we
WhatsApp
read
group.
this along to hear everybody's insights. I think that's really the magic. This is fun, but the magic is in the 4 weeks leading up to this, when people are reading and sharing insights and what it means to them.
I love it.
Fantastic. Good combo, guys. See you next time.
Another episode of BookNerds.